It took one presidency to break what took more than a century to build. In less than 10 years, FC Barcelona went from being the gold standard of world football to drowning in 1.35 billion euros of debt, losing the greatest player in its history, and suffering humiliations that once felt unthinkable. This wasn't bad luck. It wasn't one mistake. It was a chain reaction, and once it started, there was no stopping it. To understand how Barcelona collapsed, you first need to understand what the club was built on. From 2003 to 2010, under Joan Laporta's first presidency, Barcelona followed a clear philosophy. Football came first. Youth development was sacred. Spending was controlled. Identity mattered more than image. La Masia produced legends. Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets, Pedro, players raised inside the system, trained to play the Barcelona way. The club didn't just win trophies, it represented an idea of football. Even the shirt told that story. For more than 100 years, Barcelona refused commercial sponsors.
No logos, no brands.
When they finally broke that tradition in 2006, it wasn't for money. It was for UNICEF. That identity began to crack in 2010. When Sandro Rosell became president, the club's definition of success quietly changed. Football decisions started to take a back seat to business decisions. In 2011, Rosell signed a sponsorship deal with Qatar Foundation worth 30 million euros per year. UNICEF was moved to the back of the shirt. Tradition was sold for fast money. This wasn't just a logo change. It was a philosophical shift. Barcelona was becoming a different type of club, one willing to sacrifice its values for revenue. The next warning sign came with Neymar. In 2013, Barcelona announced they had signed Neymar for 57 million euros. That number was false. The real cost was closer to 86 million euros, hidden through secret payments, shell companies, and deals involving Neymar's family. When the truth came out, Spanish authorities launched an investigation. The scandal exploded. Fans were furious. Trust was broken. In 2014, Sandro Rosell resigned under pressure. But the damage was already done. Rosell hadn't destroyed Barcelona, he planted the seed. The man who took over would water it. Josep Maria Bartomeu became president in 2014. At first, nothing seemed wrong. In 2015, Barcelona won everything.
La Liga, Copa del Rey,
Champions League. The MSN trio of Messi, Suarez, and Neymar dominated Europe. Fans celebrated. Bartomeu looked untouchable. But while trophies masked the problems, the foundation was collapsing. Bartomeu didn't run Barcelona like a football club. He ran it like a reckless business. Spending exploded. Planning disappeared. Salaries became insane. Youth development was ignored. La Masia was sidelined. Instead of building, Barcelona started buying. Instead of patience, they chose panic. The collapse accelerated in the summer of 2017. Neymar left. Paris Saint-Germain triggered his 222 million euro release clause, the most expensive transfer in football history. Barcelona never believed anyone would pay it. They were unprepared, shocked, and instead of staying calm, they panicked. That panic defined everything that followed. With 222 million euro burning a hole in their pocket, Barcelona rushed into the market. First came Ousmane Dembele, 105 million euro upfront, plus add-ons. A 20-year-old with one strong season in Germany. Explosive, talented, but unproven. Barcelona expected him to replace Neymar immediately. Within weeks, injuries began. Months out, then more injuries. Season after season. Consistency never came. Then came Philippe Coutinho, 120 million euro plus 40 million euros in add-ons. Barcelona's most expensive signing ever. But he was never the right fit. At Liverpool, Coutinho was a central playmaker. At Barcelona, he was pushed to the wing. Confidence disappeared. Performances dropped. He was benched, then loaned, then sold for a fraction of his price. Still desperate, Barcelona spent again. In 2019, they paid 120 million euros to sign Antoine Griezmann. A world-class player, but completely incompatible with Barcelona's system. Another poor fit. Another massive salary. 2 seasons later, he was sold back at a huge loss. In less than 2 years, the €222 million Neymar money was gone, and Barcelona were worse than before. But transfers were only half the disaster. The real damage was wages. Bartomeu handed out contracts with no control. Salaries ballooned past €600 million per year, the highest wage bill in football history. Players earned superstar money while injured, benched, or declining. Even aging players were on enormous deals. And Messi's contract, €555 million over 4 years, became unsustainable. Barcelona were spending more than they earned. Every season pushed them closer to collapse. On the pitch, the consequences became impossible to ignore. In 2018, Roma completed a historic comeback. In 2019, Liverpool humiliated Barcelona at Anfield. In 2020, Bayern Munich destroyed them 8-2. These weren't accidents. They were symptoms. Barcelona had lost structure, confidence, and identity. The club that once controlled games now collapsed under pressure. Then COVID arrived. Revenue disappeared overnight. Losses exploded. Ticket sales, museum tours, sponsorships gone. Barcelona lost more than €200 million in expected income. And still, Bartomeu kept spending, still denying reality. In October 2020, Bartomeu finally resigned. Too late. In 2021, Joan Laporta returned and revealed the truth. Barcelona were €1.35 billion in debt. That debt is why Lionel Messi left. Even after agreeing to a massive pay cut, Barcelona couldn't register him under La Liga's financial rules. The club that raised him, shaped him, and built an era around him had to let him go. Messi left in tears after more than 20 years. It was the final consequence of years of mismanagement. Laporta's job wasn't to restore greatness. It was survival, wage cuts, player sales, emergency measures. Barcelona sold future TV rights just to stay alive. They sacrificed tomorrow for today. Slowly, stability returned. Young players emerged. Sponsorships improved. Titles came back. But the lesson remains. Barcelona didn't fall because of bad luck. They fell because they abandoned who they were. And one presidency turned that mistake into a disaster that nearly destroyed one of the biggest football clubs in history.